Olof Skötkonung was king of Sweden, son of Erik the Victorious and, according to Icelandic sources, Sigrid the Haughty. He succeeded his father in 995. Etymology. One of many explanations to the name Skotkonung is that it is derived from the Swedish word skatt, which can mean either taxes or treasure. The latter meaning has given the interpretation tributary king, and one English scholar speculates about a tributary relationship to the Danish king Svein Forkbeard, who was his stepfather. This explanation is however highly speculative, as it is not supported by any evidence or historical sources. Another possible explanation of the name is that it means treasure king, and refers to the fact that he was the first Swedish king to stamp coins, an ancient land ownership ceremony which placed a parcel of earth in someone's lap was called skotting and may have been involved in this epithet. The Icelandic Olaf means Olaf the Swedish, an epithet used to distinguish him from the Norwegian kings Olaf Tryggvason and Olaf Haraldsson. Our knowledge of Olaf is mostly based on Snorri Sturluson's and Adam of Bremen's accounts, which have been subject to criticism from source-critical scholars. But according to Adam of Bremen, Svein Forkbeard was forced to defend his Danish kingdom from attacks by Olaf, who claimed the Danish throne. The conflict was resolved by Svein's marriage with Olaf's mother, and the two kings were thereafter allies. Also, Snorri Sturluson describes Svein and Olaf as equal allies when they defeated the Norwegian king Olaf Tryggvason in the Battle of Svolder 1000, and thereafter divided Norway between themselves. Viking expedition to Wendland. In a Viking expedition to Wendland, he had captured Edla, the daughter of a Wendish chieftain, and she gave him the son Emund, and the daughter Astrid, later wife of Olaf II of Norway. He later married Estrid of the Obertrides, and she bore him the son Anne and Jacob and the daughter Ingegerd, Olaf's daughter. Alliance with Svein Forkbeard. Olaf is said to have preferred royal sports to war, and therefore Svein Forkbeard retook Denmark, which Olaf's father Erik had conquered. Olaf also lost the right to tribute, which his predecessors had preserved in what is now Estonia and Latvia. In 1000, he allied with Svein Forkbeard, who was married to Olaf's mother, and with the Norwegian Jarls Erik and Sven, against the Norwegian king Olaf Tryggvason. Olaf Tryggvason died in the Battle of Svolder, and Olaf gained a part of Trondelag as well as modern Bohuslän. Norwegian-Swedish War. When the Norwegian kingdom was re-established by Olaf II of Norway, a new war erupted between Norway and Sweden. Many men in both Sweden and Norway tried to reconcile the kings. In 1018, Olaf's cousin, the Earl of Västergötland, Ranvald Ulfsson, and the Norwegian king's emissaries Bjorn Stålare and Hulti Skegjason had arrived at the Thing of Uppsala in an attempt to sway the Swedish king to accept peace and as a warrant marry his daughter Ingegerd, Olaf's daughter, to the king of Norway. The Swedish king was greatly angered and threatened to banish Ranvald from his kingdom, but Ranvald was supported by his foster father Thorny, law speaker. Thorny delivered a powerful speech in which he reminded the king of the great Viking expeditions in the east that predecessors such as Erik, Anundsson and Bjorn had undertaken, without having the hubris not to listen to the men's advice. Thorny himself had taken part in many successful pillaging expeditions with Olaf's father Erik the Victorious, and even Erik had listened to his men. The present king wanted nothing but Norway, which no Swedish king before him had desired. This displeased the Swedish people, who were eager to follow the king on new ventures in the east to win back the kingdoms that paid tribute to his ancestors. But it was the wish of the people that the king make peace with the king of Norway and give him his daughter Ingegerd as queen. Thorny finished his speech by saying, "If you do not desire to do so, we shall assault you and kill you and not brook any more of your warmongering and obstinacy. Our ancestors have done so, who were emulating through 5 kings in a well, kings who were too arrogant as you are against us." However, Olaf married his daughter Ingegedarine to Yaroslav I the Wise instead. An impending war was settled when Olaf agreed to share his power with his son Anne and Jacob. Olaf was also forced to accept of settlement with Olaf II of Norway at Konghelle, who already had been married with Olaf's daughter, Astrid, through the Swedish Jarl Ranvald Ulfson. Diplomacy. After Canute the Great became King of England in 1016, he sent the 2 sons of Edmund Ironside to Olaf, supposedly with instructions to have the children murdered. Instead of having them killed, the 2 boys were secretly sent either to Kiev, where Olaf's daughter Ingigerd was the queen, or to Poland, where Canute's uncle Boleslaw I Crowbury was duke. Christian King Olaf was baptized in Heseby, probably by the missionary Sigfrid, c. 1008, at Heseby Parish Church. There is a sign commemorating his baptism. Nearby is a well thought to be the same sacred spring where Olaf was baptized. He was the first Swedish king to remain a Christian until his death. However, according to Adam of Bremen, the fact that the vast majority of the Swedes were still pagan forced him to limit Christian activities to the already Christian border province of Västergötland. When he stamped coins in Sigtuna in the province of Upperland, Olaf used the word rex for king, Oluf rex, as in the coin displayed above, or Olaf rex. The use of Latin seems to suggest that he was already baptized at this time, but on the other hand, the coins were imitating English pennies in type and style. Sigtuna is written Situn, Zint, Ztnetei, or Sidei. The 2 last has been deciphered as Cdei, meaning God Sigtuna. Olaf Strapasenska, the Icelandic skald Ottarsvarti, spent some time at Olaf's court and composed the poem Olaf Strapasenska describing Olaf's war expeditions in the east. Other skalds who served Olaf were Gunla Ormstunga, Hrafn Onundarson, and Gizurtvarti. His death is said to have taken place in the winter of 1021 to 1022. According to a legend, he was martyred at Stockholm after refusing to sacrifice to pagan gods. Since the 1740s, it has been claimed that he was buried in Heseby in the Christian part of his kingdom, but such identifications are controversial.